Chris Level here with another edition of Pirate Talk. We are joined now by Lubbock-Cooper tennis coach Jeff Rosales. We'll talk to Coach Rosales in a little bit. Did want to send a thank you out to Texas Tech Federal Credit Union for sponsoring these podcasts. Texas Tech Credit Union, home of the HERO program. That's $1,000 credit on home loans for educators, military, and first responders. But we certainly want to appreciate or thank those folks for being a part of these podcasts. So, Coach Rosales. This is your first head job here at Lubbock-Cooper. Now in what, third season?
Yes, sir. This is the third year.
Third year, okay. Tell me what it was like when you come in here as a first-time head coach and all that, and were you just drinking from a fire hose, trying to figure out the world and all these things?
It definitely had a learning curve to it, especially coming off the COVID year.
Okay.
I was at Monterey for 6 years as an assistant there. Coach Sexton called me one day, see if I was interested. I know that I'd gone through a coaching carousel that year as well. And, my goal was ultimately to be a head coach at some point, and so that was an opportunity, and I took it. And, that first year, like I said, it definitely had some twists and turns in it.
We all do, Coach.
But,
that's the way life works.
Since then, I feel like it's gotten pretty easy having to deal with all the COVID stuff and protocols and this and that. And so now that we're kind of past that or moving past that, makes things a little bit easier on me.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And you kind of, what I hear you saying is you kind of had to come in and, unbeknownst to you in a way, you kind of had to come in and calm things down and give everybody a new routine and some normalcy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, seeing the same person all the time
Yes,
and
sir.
all that. Yeah.
Yes, sir. And thankfully, we were able to get some time together that summer, was able to get familiar with the kids, have some come out to some summer workouts and things like that. So I at least kind of got my feet wet before the school year started, and we hit the ground running, playing matches and competing.
How many kids are in tennis right now at the high school?
Right now, I think we're at about 70.
70 kids playing tennis.
70 kids in tennis.
Break down on the boys and girls part of that. How many is it heavily slanted one way or the other, or pretty much even?
It's pretty close. I think we're slightly over on the girls' side. I think we have more girls than boys, but it's not by much.
Okay.
We compete with 3 teams. We have a varsity, a JV1, a JV2, and then the others that aren't quite to that JV2 yet, they're still in the program. We give them opportunities to move up on the ladder. And so, we try to keep it competitive and keep the kids wanting to get better.
Does it ever stop?
Tennis never stops.
Yeah, that's what, because you have, I don't know if there's any other sport on the campus that is, I guess golf does, so I take it back. So I've corrected myself. Shame on me. That you're rolling both semesters.
Yes.
And it's and so that you've got these kids all year round kind of. So when they have tennis in the spring and the fall, and I guess some in the summer and all those kinds of things.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Our fall season is the team tennis, where we compete all the matches. You're trying to accumulate a score of 10 before the other team can. It's a total of 19 matches when you compete. Obviously, the goal is to get to state. We're currently in the playoffs. We made it for the first time that I'm aware of for Lubbock-Cooper.
15, 16 year maybe? Is that
possibly.
Right? Okay, yeah.
And so that was huge for us. Definitely moving in the right direction. But yeah, we play our fall season. That goes to about the end of October, and then we hit that off season, and it's about February when we start competing.
Off season is when it gets cold.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. So because I was fortunate enough to spend some time out at your playoff match out in Plainview against Amarillo, and I walk out there, and it's in the midst of everything, and it's organized chaos. There's
Yes.
matches going on all over
Yes.
the place, and I had to kind of just take a second and kind of look around and figure out what I'm watching, because it's doubles, it's mixed doubles, it's and is that tricky on you, trying to figure out who to play with who to pair up with who, how to, because it isn't automatically just best players. You got to have chemistry and
Yes, sir.
I mean all that. Take me through how that goes.
So that whole process starts in August. When those kids start coming out to workouts, we start trying to figure out who's going to play best with each other, whether they're at the 1 spot, 2 spot, 3 spot, whether they need to play mixed doubles. We got a pretty good grasp on that early on this year, and we had good chemistry between all our teams, and we didn't have to fluctuate too much with that.
So once you kind of start out the season that way, it's like, okay, you guys are going to kind of be, that's how we're going to roll.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then once you start the district competition, then you kind of lock those into place. Their flexibility is to move up or down 1 spot, but you usually don't do that unless there's a special circumstance. Maybe you have injury or sickness or something like that. So kids kind of know what to expect. They've been playing together long enough. And so that works out pretty well. On the single side of it, it's pretty straightforward. We put our, what we think is our best player at the top, and then we go to 6. You play 6 singles matches on both sides, the boys and the girls. And so a total of 12 there. And then you have 7 doubles matches, the 3 boys, 3 girls, and 1 mixed doubles. So 19 matches total.
Do you ever watch golf on TV? Do you familiar with the Ryder Cup? Do you know what that
yes,
is?
sir.
Okay, so that is that's the closest thing I could come up with in my head as far as like you have whoever the Ryder Cup coach is, and then they have like the IFB in their ear, and they're trying to follow what's going on at different places of the course, but you're kind of guessing on who to put with who and how to stack it and all these different things. How, like whenever I was out there, you just kind of float. How do you decide who needs help? Where do I need to be? I mean, how do you decide that?
The good thing about most places that you'll play at is they have scorecards, so you're able to kind of follow the scores based on that. If we're playing really well in one match and we're up, like, okay, those guys are doing great, we're going to leave them alone. Maybe over here, this is a close match or we're down, so I'm going to put some attention on this. I also have great assistant Corey Axton, and so between the two of us, we're at least able to kind of divide and conquer as best that we can in those situations.
Yeah, so you're basically kind of go to the hot spot, like
Yes.
wherever. Are you more like during matches, or are you more, because tennis is an individual sport, right? And we've mentioned that you can be playing with a partner and all that stuff. But are you more of an encourager than anything during the day, or do you get technical, like, hey, this is what you're doing wrong, or do this better, or do you motivate, like, come on,
We try to be a jack of all trades and do it all.
Okay.
Whatever the situation is, the circumstance.
So it's all on the table.
It's all there. We try to just give the kids what they need. Some need a kick in the pants. Some need a fist bump.
We all do, Coach.
So,
Yeah, we all need that. I in fact, don't do that to me as we leave here, because I could probably use one of those too. And tennis is like golf, because I've talked to Coach Parsley and recently, and we were talking about in golf, everybody's got their like a swing coach, and I guess they all have their personal coach in some ways for tennis, because it's such a lesson-oriented sport. Do you leave them to help with your kids at all when they're away from you? I mean, take me through that dynamic.
Oh, absolutely. And Lubbock is, tennis is pretty big here in Lubbock. Several clubs. We got the Falls. You have all these places that kids can go to work with pros or college level players. And so, yeah, we definitely encourage those kids to get out and practice, take lessons, do clinics, whatever you guys can do outside of here. On our end of it, especially doubles wise, we focus more on strategy, on certain things that we would like for them to do. The technique part, we work on some, but especially at the varsity level, I would say more strategy based, unless we notice that this kid does not have this particular shot that we need them to have. You know.
You ever have a kid smash a racket in the? When I'm watching the match versus Amarillo, I was like, I did see one of those Amarillo kids smash a racket. And I was like, okay, this is good. I mean, somebody else is getting frustrated. It's happened
since
before.
I've been at Lubbock-Cooper, I haven't seen it yet.
Because in you watch professional tennis, you see somebody.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
Don't handle their temper well. Yeah.
I've seen it. I've seen some interesting things. Rackets thrown over the fence.
Oh my!
Smashed on the court.
That's got to be on the list of program rules. Don't throw the racket over the
definitely.
court. And what else was fascinating to me is watching you guys is that you're allowed to kind of coach in the middle of a match. I mean, I wouldn't have understood how that worked, but you're, between points, if you feel like you need to go out there and not really time out, but like, hey, do this or let's go or whatever it is, you're allowed to do that, which I thought was kind of fascinating.
Yes, as long as you're not disrupting the flow of the match,
Okay.
then you can,
Is that
shoot a
subjective?
few. For some coaches, yes. But you're given X amount of time whenever they're switching sides. You can go out on the court and coach then. In between points, though, like I said, you're able to give maybe some words of wisdom as long as you're not like, hey, come here, let's sit down and have a chat or something. You can't do
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely helps. It's definitely, tennis is unique.
Yeah, no doubt. Your wife teaches kindergarten here in the district.
Yes, sir.
Does she have a tougher job or do you?
I would say her.
Yeah, good answer. That's what has she always been a teacher? Or does she just kind of get into that?
She's been teaching. She was also at LISD,
Okay.
Honey Elementary, for 6 years. When I made the jump, she made the jump also,
Okay.
and she went into kindergarten. And it definitely had its challenges going into it because she came from special ed, and so it was a different beast to try to tame. But she loves it,
That's
and
awesome.
out here, everybody's awesome. So.
Yeah, and have you found that when you kind of made the jump into this district and all that? I mean, support is there and facilities. I mean, all the things that you
Yes,
were looking
sir.
for.
Oh, absolutely. Administration, awesome. Parent support, awesome. Kids are great. I mean, they come out willing to work, ready to get better. As far as I know, every single day. So yeah, I'm still riding the high wave here at Lubbock-Cooper.
You're in the honeymoon period,
Yes,
man,
sir.
and we went to the playoffs, man. So you mentioned Coach Axton a little bit. I think I was out there too and watched him a little bit. Great personality and all that. Tell me through your relationship with him. Y'all definitely need each other.
Yeah, definitely. This is his second year with me. He was over at Irons Middle School
Okay.
for 23, 24 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what I tell everyone is I just called him on the right day because he's been offered, I think several jobs, and so I called him on the right day, and he was intrigued by the job. He came out and talked, and here we are.
That's awesome. Well, good for you for picking the right day to call. Hopefully that was like a Tuesday or something. If you weren't coaching tennis, you'd be doing what?
That's a good question. For as long as I can remember, I wanted to be a coach, a tennis coach. My first love was soccer.
Okay.
Coming from Vernon, small town, we didn't have soccer at the high school level. So at that point, we kind of had tried to figure something out. Got tired of traveling. And so tennis piqued my interest just because it was something I'm out there by myself. I can improve, get as good as the time I'm willing to put into it. And so I really love that about tennis and started playing. And I had a great coach myself, Ruben Vargas. He was my high school coach. And he was a great motivator and great coach, great leader. And I saw him and I was like, I want to do that.
Coaches are important.
They are.
I mean, no doubt. That's fascinating that you kind of looked at somebody that was coaching you and said, "This is what I want to do." That's the best compliment you can give somebody. You a Federer or a Nadal guy, or somebody different?
I would say in this era, I would probably say Federer.
Okay.
Growing up, I was like the Pete Sampras,
Okay.
Patrick Rafter. I like those guys, but yeah, Federer. It's hard to argue against Federer.
Okay, so we've bothered Coach Rosales enough now, but we're in mid-October and Halloween is upcoming. Okay, so if somebody trick or treats at the Rosales household, what are they getting? What are you handing them out?
We usually carry the good stuff.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Like full-size candy bars or
maybe not full
Okay,
size, but
but-
we have
but
the
you don't
Twix,
skimp.
the Snickers,
Oh, yes.
the Skittles, all the good
the
stuff.
good stuff. See,
Yeah.
when you say we usually carry the good stuff, I'm like, okay, sign me up. Candy corn, yes or no?
Yes.
Oh,
I do like candy corn.
So,
I do.
So disappointing. Colton Coons, who's behind the camera, he gives you a big thumbs up. He's a candy corn guy too. I think it's garbage. Favorite Halloween costume growing up?
Oh man.
You remember dressing up as something?
I do remember. Was really into the superheroes. I had
Oh, tell me which one.
I've had Batman. We've had Power Rangers. I think my favorite one though was actually one that my mom made for me. It was a homemade Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle costume.
Like Donatello or something?
I mean, the full get up,
Oh,
the
yes.
eyes, the elbow pads.
Oh, yeah, with like the sunglasses
Yeah,
kind of
it
thing.
was
Oh, that's
awesome.
awesome. Coach Rosales, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. Well, man, I appreciate you doing this for us. This was really fun. I hope people kind of get to know who you are and who you are coaching your kids. You've done a great job. We'll do this again in the spring when we get back into that second part of your
Yes, sir.
season. So your kids will get to spend the cold months inside
All
before we get them back out in February. But man, appreciate the time.
Yes, sir.
There he
Thank
is.
you. I
There he is.
appreciate
Good
you.
luck. All right. Happy Halloween to Coach Rosales and
Happy
company
Halloween.
right there. There we go. That's another edition of Pirate Talk. Thanks for tuning in.